Welcome to Rambam in Depth. Today we'll be discussing the Rambam, Hilchos Machalos Asuros, Perek Shishi Halacha Aleph. The Rambam says as follows: Ha'echel kezayis miradam b'mezid chayiv kares. If someone eats a kezayis, the volume of an olive, of blood, intentionally, he's liable for kares. And b'shegeg, if it's unintentionally, mevi chatas kavu, he brings a sin offering. So we're dealing with blood. Blood is a fluid, of course. And the Rambam uses the term ha'echel kezayis, someone who eats a kezayis. So in other words, it would seem from this Rambam that the shear for prohibited liquids is a kezayis. Now the Kesef Mishneh in Hilchos Brachos says something contrary to what this Rambam seems to imply. The Kesef Mishneh says that all prohibitions in the Torah that involve Shetiya, the fluids that you drink, the shear is a Revi'it. So that seems to be contradicted from the Rambam here, who says that the shear is a kezayis. And the same thing the Rambam says with respect to Terumah, with respect to Chametz, that the shear is a kezayis, contrary to the Kesef Mishneh. However, in other prohibitions, like stam yenam, non-kosher wine, the Rambam says the shear is a Revi'it. And the Minchas Chinuch, Mitzvah Kuf Mem Ches, when he puts together all these different sources, he says, Ani novuch b'shir mashkin. I'm confused about the shear for liquids. Is it Revi'it or is it kezayis? So the Binyan tries to distinguish between how the liquid was consumed. When do we say that a liquid represents a prohibited substance for which you're chayiv, for which you're liable? That's if it's the shear is a kezayis, that's if the liquid congealed. So it becomes a solid. Once it becomes a solid, then of course the shear is a kezayis. Like all other prohibitions that involve solids, the prohibition requires eating the size, the volume of an olive. But when the fluid is in a fluid state, when the liquid is not congealed, then the shear is a Revi'it. That's the Binyan. But the Alter Rebbe clearly disagrees, and the Shailas Tshuva Sheres Yehuda from the Alter Rebbe's brother, he quotes the Alter Rebbe, who brings a raya from this very Rambam. The Rambam doesn't make any distinction. The Rambam just says, without any qualification, if someone who eats a kezayis from blood, mezid chayiv kares, he doesn't say that's only when it's congealed, but if it's not congealed, it's a Revi'it. The Rambam would have told us something so basic as that. So we still have to reconcile the sources that say that the shear is a kezayis with the sources that say the shear is a Revi'it. In some prohibitions, the shear is a Revi'it. So the Sefer Gulas Ilyais from the Chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek and Hilchos Mikvos, so he says the following distinction, a very simple distinction it would seem. He says, if the Torah describes the prohibition using an expression of Achila, le'yechal, le'yachel, then the shear is a kezayis, whether it's in a solid state, whether it's in a liquid state, because the Torah uses the term Achila. But if the Torah uses the lashon of Shetiya, of drinking, so then the shear is a Revi'it. That's why, where does the Torah speak about dam, about blood? It says, chol dam le'sechelu. So even though the dam is a liquid, but the Torah uses the words le'sechelu. Same thing with Terumah and Hegdish. The Torah says, v'chol zar le'yechal kaidish. So if a person violates that, even if it's through a liquid, the shear is a shear of Achila, the shear of kezayis. And that's why the Torah uses that term of Achila to say that it's connected to a kezayis. Chametz as well, it says v'lo ya'achel chametz. Here too, even if the chametz is liquefied, the shear is a kezayis. However, those prohibitions where the shear is, where the Torah describes the prohibition in the language of Shetiya, of drinking, like a nazir, v'chol nishras hanavim lo yishteh, or going into the Beis Hamikdash intoxicated, it says yayin v'shecha al teisht. There, the shear is a Revi'it. So this is a very simple, but seems to be very solid distinction between the two types of prohibitions. And the Rambam here is talking about the prohibition of dam, and here he therefore says echel kezayis ben dam. The shear is a kezayis because the prohibition of dam is clearly mentioned in the Torah with regard to achila. V'chol dam le'sechelu.